caught my cheating wife at a secret hotel. My wife was surprised when I gave her divorce papers in the hotel lobby. Hello everyone, I hope each of you is doing well. I'm writing this on my phone, so I apologize for any mistakes. This is a rather long and disorganized tale, and I have nowhere else to turn as I've reached the end of my rope. Little background. My wife is 40 and I am 43. We've been married for 16 years and have 2 children, a 9-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. At first, our marriage was somewhat turbulent, but we worked through those difficult years and came out much stronger. We married young, so maturity wasn't fully there yet. But despite that, we knew we loved each other and believed we could overcome any challenge in our marriage. Whether that was wishful thinking is still a question. I've been in engineering for 7 years, while my wife has worked for 3 years as a manager at a large advertising agency. Our careers pay well and have provided our family with a comfortable life. We were a close family, and as parents, we always made sure our children had great memories. We always found time for them, no matter how busy we became. To be honest, I think I'm a decent husband and father. When it came to my wife, I occasionally made mistakes, but I did everything I could for her. That's why it shook me to my very core when I found out she was having a long-term affair. The revelation: my wife had been acting distant. The last 2 years leading up to this moment were especially difficult. She seemed to enjoy nothing I did. Yes, I now know that she would constantly compare me to her boss, telling me how he would handle things. She seemed to look to him for guidance and attention, something I struggled to understand. I tried asking her what she wanted from me, but her usual response was, "You should already know." I tried everything. I read books, I made efforts to improve myself and our marriage, but everything I did seemed to be met with indifference or disappointment. In the years I'd known her, she had never been this way. I thought the failure to make her happy was my fault. Little did I know, someone else was already playing the role I thought I was. We were close to her boss and his family. We spent time together, family trips, barbecues, and gaming days. So when I confided in her boss about our marital issues, he offered what seemed like wise counsel. He appeared to be a great man, and I trusted him. But everything began to unravel when I realized my wife was keeping secrets. One night, while we were lying in bed, she was texting someone and laughing. I tried to take a look, but she immediately pushed me away and insisted that I mind my business. That was the moment I knew something was wrong, even though I had no proof yet. The next day, I asked her directly, but she was furious and denied everything. I didn't have access to her phone at that time, but when I did get it later, I noticed something odd. Some messages were missing. When I confronted her, she handed me her phone hesitantly, but by the time I looked again, many messages had been deleted. After some time, I had a friend help me retrieve the deleted messages. I discovered that she had been having an affair with her boss. The pieces started to fit together. I was devastated. I knew the truth, but I was unsure of what to do next. I was concerned about how this would impact our children. I was still hoping to salvage our marriage, so I began reading self-help books on how to heal after an affair. I thought if I could show her what I'd learned, she might change. I wanted to save our marriage and hoped that my wife would come back. She had told me they had an emergency at work and not to wait for her. I had planned to talk to her on that Saturday to sort things out, but when I called her office to verify the story, no one answered. Saturdays were closed. I tried calling her phone, but there was no response. On Sunday, around 2 a.m., she returned home, showered right away, and went to bed. When I questioned her about her arrival time, she sidestepped the question by claiming she had already told me not to wait for her. I was tired of this. I left the book I had purchased on the table, but she didn't seem to care. She didn't care when she saw how much I was hurting. That's when I asked the wife of her boss if she knew anything. I still don't regret doing it. I was desperate for answers, and the truth hit both of us like a shock. She wanted to confront her husband, but I advised her he would likely lie and cover it up like my wife had done. We met at her house to discuss what was happening, and I shared the small evidence I had gathered. She needed more proof, so we both began gathering more information and comparing our findings. It didn't take long for her to find clear evidence on her end. Her husband was so careless that he hadn't deleted the text messages between him and my wife. The pieces of the puzzle finally made sense, and we both realized the affair had been going on for over 2 years. We were both furious. We wanted retribution, and we found ourselves disgusted by where they had been, hotels, business trips, and even exchanging pictures. But we both agreed not to dwell on those details. Instead, we decided that they could have each other if that's what they wanted. At the same time, we both gathered divorce paperwork. We were set on ending our marriages. We acted as if nothing had changed, keeping the truth from our husbands. At that point, everything was in place. This time, I wasn't alone in dealing with the betrayal. We knew exactly where and how they would be meeting. We knew the motel they had reserved for their weekend getaway. I visited there with the sheriff. While the sheriff made the necessary arrangements, I waited in the lobby. My wife was called down from her room, and she came down wearing only a bathrobe and nothing else. She was terrified and furiously asked me what I was doing there. Although the motel was quite far from our home, the sheriff asked her to confirm her identity, which she did ambiguously. She was served the divorce papers, and the look on her face when she realized what had happened was somewhat satisfying. But I chose to leave, knowing the task was complete and not wanting to make a scene. She grabbed my arm and insisted on knowing what this was about. "You had an affair," I told her. "I'm leaving you." She began shouting at me, then grabbed my arm firmly. The sheriff had to intervene and order her to release me immediately. She claimed that I had misunderstood and that it was my fault. Then she started crying. I left quickly to get home, feeling increasingly enraged. When my wife told her boss, he rushed home only to find that he was served divorce papers as well. We blindsided them, just as they had blindsided us. Although it might take longer for her to come to terms with everything, my divorce will be finalized in a few months. Both my wife and her supervisor have been fighting the divorce, each claiming that they never intended to leave their spouses and that the affair was purely physical. They argue that many people make mistakes, but still have strong marriages afterward. They've expressed a desire to try to repair things, but I remain firm in my decision. I asked my wife, "What do you think the result of all this will be?" She said she wasn't that person anymore and that she had been following the flow of events, acting in a way that was totally against her true nature. I told her that her behavior had been immoral. Others around me, including friends and family, have labeled me as horrible for not giving her another chance, but I believe I'm doing what's best for me and for the children. My kids are aware of the situation, and age-appropriately, they fully support my decision. We still live in the same house, though my resolve is weakening, especially since my wife is reading the self-help books I bought and attending therapy. It's becoming more difficult to stay firm in my decision, especially since she keeps claiming to be sorry and says she will do whatever it takes to fix things. But I can't shake the feeling that she's more sorry that she got caught than for the pain she caused. She has labeled me as a bitter, angry person, unable to move past the negativity. Later, she apologized for saying that, but I know it's how she feels. I still talk to the wife of her boss, which my wife completely detests. She believes that the boss's wife is the reason I won't consider giving our marriage another chance, or that I'll end up having a revenge affair, just like she did. She's insisted that I stop all communication with her, but I told her I hadn't done anything wrong, and I shouldn't have to stop talking to someone who has been supportive of me. I don't agree with her point of view, and I've made it clear that I no longer respect her. She's still not ready to give up, and she continues to try to talk to me about the affair and the steps she's taking to fix things. But to me, these are just excuses, and I choose to ignore them. She's asked me to accompany her to therapy, but I've refused. I've seen too many cases where therapists place the blame on the victim, and I don't want to subject myself to that. She also wants me to read books about infidelity with her, but given that we're likely heading toward divorce, I don't see the point. She's trying to manipulate me with promises of affection, but I'm no longer interested. People around me, including my mother, are annoyed with me for not giving her a chance. They believe that mistakes happen, and since my wife understands her errors, she really loves me and deserves another chance. I've assured them that I will never be anyone's backup plan. Treating her this way makes me feel guilty, but I know it's the right decision. Yes, there's anger, but there's still love too. Some people ask if I'm being too hard on her. She's trying very hard, but I'm just not interested in giving her another chance. Should I slow down? People tell me I'll regret moving too quickly, but I'm not sure what's real anymore. The responses I've gotten from others have been helpful, and I'll continue to keep them updated. After reading all your comments, I feel like I've been able to address a lot of the concerns and feel more confident in my decision. Update. I've been receiving emails asking for an update, so here I am. I'd like to clear up a few things. My wife and I are in a decent state right now, but not because we're reconciling. I am still moving forward with a divorce. The brief version is that my wife is still hoping for another chance and is doing everything she can to get it. I won't give it to her, though. The affair lasted too long for me to recover. If it had been a one-night mistake, maybe things would be different, but 2 years is too much of a betrayal. I still love her, but I'm not a monster. I've attended a few therapy sessions with her, and one was really good. It helped me see that my wife truly regrets her actions. She has been trying hard to make amends, but she hasn't handled everything perfectly. In our second session, we fought about my continued contact with the boss's wife. She wanted me to stop, but I refused. That session ended badly, with a lot of anger from both of us. I've assured her that I won't have a revenge affair, but I don't owe her anything. She's still my wife, and the divorce is not final yet. I've been attending more sessions with her just to observe her progress. I'm not attending therapy because I want to save the marriage. I'm doing it to watch her growth and help her if necessary, but once the divorce is final, I'll step away. The wife of her boss is still trying to contest the divorce, but she's as strong as I am. We've both had low days, but we're cordial with each other. I still don't see an affair between us. She's a strong, independent woman. My children are doing well. They understand that we still love them even though we are divorcing, and while they wish we didn't, they see why it's the best decision. My wife has left her job at the advertising company and is now working elsewhere. She says she hasn't contacted her former boss since then. She's been working hard to improve herself, and I've seen progress. I can understand why people stay with their spouses after an affair now. My wife isn't a monster. She's just flawed and made terrible decisions. She's working on becoming a better person. She's given me every reason to try again, but I'm not sure I have it in me. I feel more at peace as the final divorce date gets closer. Recently, she begged me for another chance after the divorce, and we had a long conversation about it. She offered a post-nuptial agreement, but honestly, I don't see how that would help. I don't want to compromise myself further. This divorce is my way of achieving justice, and I'm firm in my decision. I also want to update you all on a more personal matter. My mother and I have made up. She was angry when she learned the details of my wife's affair, but we've come to an understanding. I don't know what I'll do about the future of my marriage, but I know that I will never be anyone's backup plan again. She has thrown herself at me several times, trying to make sure I don't cheat on her, but I'm not sure how many of her advances I've turned down. That only seems to aggravate things further. The deceived have to struggle and try to pick up the pieces, while the cheaters remain selfish, just thinking about their own suffering. Our children still see their children, although I never visit the other betrayed partner without my kids. My wife still believes I have it in me to be as merciless as she was and sees every chance to attack the other woman as laughable and exploitive. The other man is still residing in their vacation house and begging the other betrayed partner to take him back. I won't lie, seeing him suffer the repercussions of his actions makes me very happy, given the leverage I have on him. He hasn't tried threatening me, but he has to cope with my ongoing communication with his wife. He makes sure I'm not around when he visits since he's allowed to see his kids whenever he wants, but he doesn't want to see me. To be honest, I pity the man. My wife has been really contrite lately. She has lavished me with love, which I've just pushed aside. I'm not in a good frame of mind. Today is our therapy session, and I feel like releasing all the suffering and hurt I've gone through because of her. My anger has become intolerable. Update. Well, here I am checking in again. There isn't much new to report, but reviewing my conversations and posts has helped me see how valuable this place is for helping people like us understand our situations better. I've been reading a lot of material about infidelity. During a recent therapy session with my wife, she asked if I would give her a little more time to win me back. She listed reason after reason why it would be a good idea for me to at least try and see if I could assist in restoring our marriage, though not quite reconciliation yet. I kept bringing up the fact that her primary motivation was the fallout from her affair. She wouldn't be trying if she still saw the other man. For months, she emotionally mistreated me, and I'm not the kind of person to be walked all over, even by the woman I loved. She owned all her mistakes and apologized once again. She has promised me so much to make it up to me. She believes it is possible to fix things and wants our marriage to be stronger than ever before. When I asked her if she would be ready to tolerate my wrath, she said absolutely and would like me to dump all my anger on her anytime I feel like it to help me process the grief. Usually, I got a million excuses when I questioned her about the affair. This time, she was honest. She admitted there was no justification for what she did and that she would spend every day for the rest of her life demonstrating through her actions that she deeply regretted it and would never hurt me like that again. She genuinely poured out her emotions, and it helped me realize that she was very insecure about herself and envious of the other betrayed partner. Her ego had inflated from the affair. She loved feeling beautiful and wanted. She admitted that it was likely a fantasy, and while she considered the consequences from time to time, she didn't give them much thought. Overall, she regrets the affair and claims she will live with the guilt for the rest of her life. She probably will never forgive herself. She told me she could never hold a candle to the other betrayed spouse, and the reason she was so sure I would cheat again was because the other woman is not only gorgeous, but also a lady of integrity. Not once has the other betrayed partner ever threatened her or behaved meanly toward her. It was all my wife's fears, and perhaps the fact that I was furious with her for turning on me. The therapist asked me what it would take for me to give my wife's offer some thought. Not one thought came to me because what I currently have is a fake marriage and I never signed up for it. I was honest with her and told her the only thing that would make me reconsider is a time machine. She told me that every marriage deals with issues ranging from death to adultery, and how those issues are handled reveals the resilience of a marriage. I told the therapist to focus on my wife instead of us, as I really couldn't believe where this conversation was leading. The therapist suggested that my inability to listen to logical arguments might be a communication issue, and I agreed, not wanting to argue. On the way home, my wife and I had a long conversation. She asked me if her affair had made me feel emasculated, which surprised me since she had never asked me that before. I told her yes. Then she startled me further by wondering if sleeping with another woman would make me feel better. I reminded her again that I am not, nor will I ever be, a vengeful lover. She clarified that she was referring to a trial separation, where I could go get my mojo back and she would stay true, waiting for me to return to the marriage when I'm ready. I felt her idea was insane. I questioned how that would help the marriage at all, to have both partners having affairs. She told me it wouldn't be an affair, as we would be separated under conditions that allowed my freedom to see other people. She reasoned that since we were divorcing anyway, if this didn't help us, at least I would see what the outside world has to offer. I told her it was a great risk on her part, and she seemed completely out of character suggesting it. I rejected the proposal. For the past few weeks, my wife has been remarkably quiet and patient. She is unlike the wild, insecure woman I used to know. Naturally, I know I shouldn't trust her for my own benefit, but it's quite challenging. She has been really giving in the divorce, even though she doesn't want it. Though that's not the case for me. I've read so many stories of divorces turning acrimonious, and being in this state feels surreal. It's hard to negotiate. Edit. Let me also make it clear, I am still fully going through with the divorce. Hearing people's impressions of this situation interests me, and I will keep you all updated. Update. Hello again. I have another update on my sorry situation. Thank you to everyone who has been in touch and offered their support. Before I get into the update, I want to let you know that my wife and I have decided to be civil and celebrate the holidays as a family for the sake of our children. Though my wife is still hoping otherwise, this will be the last holiday we observe together. Our divorce will be official by mid-February. For those interested, we have split everything down the middle. Though she has been generous on her side, she might become nasty later, but so far, she has been good. She says it's because I've been a terrific husband and parent. She feels I should get more than a fair divorce, considering all she's done. I'm not sure if it's a tactic, but I do gain somewhat more thanks to her. That said, I've chosen to stop attending therapy with her. It was confusing her and offering false hope. She has said she has a strong desire to be close to me all the time and that her affair made me feel emasculated and unwanted. She's been trying to initiate sex quite often, and I mean quite often. To be honest, my wife never initiated sex before all of this, so I felt a little off that she's doing it now. I came to value this as a hang-up of mine and her desire to fix it over time, but I've turned her down. She continues to claim that this has nothing to do with reconciliation and that she just wants me to feel good and desired. For now, I've cut off communication with the other betrayed partner as things were becoming too personal for my taste. I suppose you weren't far off when someone mentioned that I was having a revenge affair. It wasn't even anything I knew until the other betrayed partner admitted she wanted to see where our relationship would go. She said she would wait until my divorce is official before starting anything. We agreed to take a vacation from each other until everything is settled. The second betrayed partner is a beautiful woman, but I'm not sure how to manage the situation. Someone suggested that her future reconciliation with her husband is being hampered by being near me, but I guarantee you nothing I'm doing has anything to do with her choosing to leave the other man. She is done with him, and that's all. When we are together, we do not discuss our spouses negatively. The other man personally visited me recently to atone for everything that happened. He was usually arrogant, but this event really helped him grow humble. His apologies didn't sit well with me, though. I wouldn't say anything mean-spirited about what he's going through. Call me petty if you want, but is it wrong for me to engage intimately with my wife, even though we're not getting along? I admit I miss the closeness and connection, the affection, the conversation, the moments of intimacy. My wife is eager and has been trying everything possible to reconnect, and sometimes I find it difficult to resist. Honestly, I didn't care to know where they had been or what they had done. She even went out of her way to remove everything that reminded her of him from our house, without me asking. Moving on from these emotions is tough for me. Is this all just a setup? Am I being manipulated? I wanted her here, mainly because it's less complicated until the divorce is finalized. Before anyone says, kick her out, I've already tried that. Now I understand, though, there were so many things I felt I had lost. I felt I wasted years on a relationship that wasn't as genuine as I thought. But despite everything, she gave me beautiful memories and, most importantly, our children. As a man, I will always value those things. I know now I'm better than her. She manipulated me, belittled me, and made me feel small when other men showed her attention. It still shocks me that I'm only now realizing I'm over her. She's only now trying hard to keep me, but it feels too little, too late. She's now focused on our relationship, wanting me to be happy, but it's clear this sudden effort is rooted in guilt. It's been difficult to let go, but I've finally come to see the truth. I'll never get back what I've lost, but I'm learning to accept it. She now does everything to maintain my interest, but I can't ignore how everything she does feels like an attempt to fix something that's already broken. I'm still questioning whether I'm doing the right thing. Why can't I see her actions as sincere? Why can't I forgive her and move forward? But as time passes, I'm becoming clearer about what I need. I refuse to accept disrespect from anyone, and I won't settle for a relationship that doesn't meet my needs. This Christmas, I'm choosing to spend time with my children and my family, and then focus on truly moving on from my wife. I've decided to stop listening to the voices in my head and stop entertaining the idea of reconciliation. We are done for good. My wife is not a villain, and I don't want to paint her as such. She's shown me that I can still care for her as the mother of my children, but I've realized that we can't go back to what we had. I'm doing what's best for me now. I called the other betrayed partner, OBP, today to thank her for her support during this time. We've both been through a lot, and I owe her a lot. I didn't realize how much I needed someone to talk to. For the past few years, my emotions were so complicated that I never thought about moving on, or even seeking out new connections. But now that my divorce is approaching, I realize I have choices. I don't want to get involved with OM or any other man who hurt my family. I won't marry again, that's for sure. Marriage feels like an outdated idea at the moment. I'm sorry if I sound bitter, but I'm just being honest about how I feel. I'm managing the financial side of the divorce, and it hasn't been easy. I'm losing money, but I'm still in a better position than many people going through similar situations. I'm grateful that, despite everything, I'm finding peace within myself. Update. The divorce is officially final. It's been a few weeks, and honestly, the whole process hit me harder than I expected. For several days afterward, I felt like I had lost something important. When I first discovered the affair, I didn't think it would have this kind of emotional impact, but it did. I've arranged everything for my ex, partly for the sake of our children. She's moved out, and I'm in the process of buying her out of her share of the house. She's now living in an apartment, and while it's a big downsize for her, it seems to be making her unhappy. She continues therapy and is committed to self-reflection, which I don't quite understand, but it's her choice. We've had a few long conversations, both before and after the divorce. Even though I know I shouldn't be giving her any more emotional energy right now, we have to co-parent our children in a way that is respectful. Thanks to the support from this group and others, I'm approaching this situation logically. She wants to reconcile, but I've made it clear to her that I don't think putting myself back into the same circumstances is a good idea. I went to dinner with OBP recently, mainly for companionship and a change of pace. Things got a bit flirtatious, and I have to admit it was a lot of fun. It wasn't my intention for it to go that far, but the evening ended with some unexpected intimacy. It was a learning experience for me, and I now understand what I had been missing. It made me realize I need a partner who respects me and values me. I'm not sure where things will go with OBP, but for now, I'm focused on my emotional healing and self-discovery. I'm glad I've learned what I've learned and handled this situation the best I could. All things considered, I feel like I'm in a better place than I was a few months ago, even if the process has been painful and costly. But I'm finding peace, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm on the path to real happiness. It took me a long time to process everything, but I've learned a lot. I'm eternally grateful to everyone who listened and offered advice during this difficult time. Your guidance helped me avoid further losing myself, and for that I'll always appreciate it. Here's a summary of the key lessons I've learned through this journey. Respect yourself. Never tolerate disrespect from anyone, no matter how close they are to you. Everyone deserves a loving, respectful relationship. Don't settle. Every committed partnership should have a healthy and fulfilling sexual life. If your partner isn't willing to invest in the relationship the way you need, it's okay to express dissatisfaction and take a stand. Relationships are a two-way street. Healthy boundaries. If your partner is unwilling or unable to meet your needs, it's important to set boundaries. It's okay to walk away if those boundaries aren't respected. Healing after betrayal. Only you can truly recover after betrayal. Take your time and don't feel pressured to rush the healing process. I know it took me a while to fully understand that. I'm moving forward with my life, and while the road hasn't been easy, I'm in a much healthier place now. I'm focusing on the present and the future, and I'm committed to being the best version of myself for my children, my family, and my own well-being. A lot of people have been reaching out concerned about my situation. I want to reassure everyone that I'm doing okay. I'm still in a relationship with the other betrayed partner, OBP, and things are going well. The kids are adjusting, and we're handling the situation as best we can. However, it hasn't been without its challenges. The kids are still processing everything. My daughter, in particular, has had a tough time adjusting to the changes in our family dynamic. There are still moments of conflict, but I'm working hard to be a good father and make sure they feel heard and supported. For the record, we're still actively working through therapy to ensure our children cope with everything in a healthy way. There's been a lot of change, and it's important that they have the space to express their feelings. My ex-wife still wants to reconcile, but I'm not considering that. The truth is, I've made peace with the past and have forgiven her. It wasn't about me. It was about my own growth and moving forward. I've realized that I deserve better than being in a relationship where trust was broken. She's still working on herself and improving, but I'm no longer interested in revisiting the past. I hope she finds peace, but my focus is on building a healthier future for myself and my children. I'll be honest, this whole journey has been a lot to process, but I'm in a much better place now. The relationship with the other betrayed partner has become something more than just a way to cope. We support each other and share a strong bond. We've worked through the trauma of betrayal together, and it has helped me heal in ways I didn't expect. We're taking things slow, ensuring the kids adjust to the new dynamic. My daughter still needs time to process everything, and that's okay. I'm grateful for the support of my partner, and I'm trying to be as transparent as possible with my children about everything. After everything I've gone through, I'm not sure if I'll ever get married again. The idea of marriage feels different now, especially after seeing how things unraveled. For now, I'm focusing on building healthy relationships, whether that's with my kids, my partner, or anyone else. What I know for sure is that relationships require honesty, effort, and mutual respect. If those elements aren't there, it's okay to walk away and prioritize your own well-being. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit notification bell to stay updated.